Good morning, Twitch TV, and welcome to another installment of our Dawngate Community Catch-Up. My name is Andy Belford, aka Will. I am the community manager for Dawngate and Waystone Games, and we are coming to you with Mr. Dan Gibson, aka Dibs.
Hello.
aka
Dave.
aka Dave. Dave Gibson, that's right. I know, no hat, guys, no hat. I know, right? My hat's in my suitcase, actually.
But when you don't have the hat, you get the little spike.
I do get the little
And
spike.
that's good, though. I like that.
I'm not quite over 9,000 like Buell is.
Right.
But, you know, I'm working on it.
But we need to get on to stop that.
Yeah, Buell's got the epic hair going on, so... Ginger denied, that's right. No Ginger today. So, actually, this is one of... He's right behind us.
You can see him.
This is one of the few days that I actually get to sit in the office over the last couple of weeks and do stuff with the community, because the rest of the time I have been traveling. I just got back from Germany on Saturday, and then tonight I'm actually flying up to Seattle for PAX Prime.
That's true. You've been a busy man.
I've been a little bit busy.
Yeah.
A little bit busy. I actually played the game yesterday for the first time, in what feels like 3 weeks. It really, I think it has been about 3 weeks since I've actually been able to sit down and really play the game. So, a little rusty. My Michaela wasn't, or actually no Varian. My Varian wasn't that great.
Oh,
but I'm looking forward to getting back into the game here in the next couple of weeks. So, anyways, yeah, businessman. That's right. So we got some exciting stuff to show people today.
We do. We have something really exciting. It's true.
It is very exciting. I'm actually super stoked about it because this guy, this shaper that we have coming is quite the character.
He's quite the character.
He is quite the character.
He's awesome.
I think that I just told Dibs, I like to use the term bask when we speak of being in his presence. You bask in his presence. You bask in the glory of this shaper. So you guys should have some fun with this one. So anyways, today we will be giving out beta keys. We do give them out silently in the chat during our Wednesday streams. So stay tuned. You must be following the channel. So please, if you haven't already, click that little button down there that says follow. Pluto, the aforementioned Ginger behind me, will be sending out PMs to you via Twitch with beta keys. If you win, congratulations, and we'll see you in game. Speaking of beta, by the way, Thursday. We actually are opening our beta servers up tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to midnight. Very first time we've had a 3-day beta window.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. I think that some people might actually pass out in front of their desks from the way that people are talking.
Oh yeah,
they're just
that's classic.
3 days of Dawngate. Whatever shall I do? Count them. 45 hours, folks. 45 hours. Wow. Pace yourselves, everybody. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But we know you're not going to. That's okay. You're all adults, I think. Yeah, you have to be adults, because if you're a kid, you'd be back in school right now.
That's true, but they could fake sick.
They could fake sick, that's true.
That's what I would do. That'd be the way to do it.
Don't listen to Dibs. Don't listen to Dibs, kids.
Stay in school.
Stay in school.
I'm just kidding.
Get an education. Go to college, maybe. Something like that. Nope, I'm not in school. School starts in September in Canada.
Wow.
Everything's better in Canada. What the heck?
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and start things off like we usually do on Wednesday by taking a peek over at some community content. And, of course, as usual, we want to give our weekly plug to our friends over at the Dawngate subreddit. Our good friend Venor, and of course, actually, he has a new cohort in crime. What's the guy's name here? Fable74. Fable74. These guys are constantly tinkering with the subreddit, constantly.
Yeah.
I do notice they're up to over 2,500 shapers.
Yeah.
Shapers. They're calling them shapers. Subscribers now on the subreddit. So congratulations on that, guys. Keep up the great work. Remember, this is a completely community-run operation over at the subreddit, so show your gratitude towards the moderators and folks who are working on it.
Yep.
So we do have a couple of things that we did want to point out, though. Mostly just kind of fun stuff today.
Fun stuff today, for sure.
Fun stuff today. One thing that kind of happened yesterday, out of that play test we had going on, there was a little donger raising happening. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
They had to raise their dongers, and I don't know if Lauren was ready for it.
I think that she was ready for it, but the ultimate reaction, I'm not sure if she knew what the result would be.
Right.
But the donger was definitely raised, I would say.
Because immediately Pluto said, "Someone please gift this."
Yes.
And then later on that day, someone sent out an email with the GIF, and immediately Lauren, I was like, "Lauren, you got gift." She was like, "Oh,
She
oh
did.
no."
She did. She was like, "Nah." But the shrug is really.
The shrug is what makes it. It would
is.
not be a GIF without the shrug.
The shrug is it adds the emphasis at the
Right,
end.
I
for
like
sure.
it.
All right. So, anyways, so that's a fun thing there. So, speaking of funny images, there's this great thread on the forums right now that's complaining of the lack of crowd control
Right.
in Dawngate.
I think this guy's looking for a hard stun, but we do have a lot of crowd control in Dawngate. So someone made this delightful image.
Specifically, we have a lot of crowd control on one. It's there's like a confluence of crowd control on the desecrator.
Concentrated directly into the desecrator.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, a root, a slow, a silence,
A knockup.
A knockup.
Yeah, it's super good.
He's got a little bit of crowd control going on.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's an extremely potent shaper, folks.
Yep.
And then, of course, yeah, what a picture. Hopefully you guys can make that out at home. I'm pretty sure you can, though.
Yeah.
If you're in that their 1080p. Well, this is high. That's weird. I wonder if there's something wrong with our resolution. Anyway, so yeah, that is Nerf Haste Desecrator more.
Oh, we did. He got nerfed. That's all
Yeah,
right.
they want even more nerfing to happen. He's still super OP according to Scott Zyril SC. More the SC stands for Southern California. So I haven't said that in a while. But it still rolls off the tongue. It just rolls right off the tongue. Anyways, it's the new resolution setting. Oh, thank you for Zenian. I've been reading about this stuff happening on Twitch. I haven't actually seen the
That's
results.
interesting.
It is. So anyways. All right, so and the last thing, actually, we had, while I was gone, I heard that we had Kendra on the stream.
That's right. Kendra came on with Pluto, and they did a run-through of the art that she could show in the game right now. She still has a lot of stuff that's coming down the line, but we additionally showed off some of her stuff from her own personal work.
So Kendra has, I would say predictably, has already started garnering her own fan base amongst the community.
Right.
And one of them was kind enough to make the Kendra. It's like a Kendraception here going on. What does she say? Is that like one of the little mushroom creeps?
Yeah,
she said?
it's the middle mushroom.
Okay, the big mushroom.
And
but
that one's all scared.
It's scared. It's like you killed my father, and I was just staring at you.
Right.
You mean woman, you.
Right.
Which the real Kendra, by the way, not anywhere near as sadistic as the Kendra in game.
Well, as far as we know.
As far as we know. I mean, we haven't actually.
Her work personality, very pleasant.
Very pleasant. That's right. So, anyways, the Kendra art. So, yes, very nice. Thank you very much for sharing. We love seeing these community creations, whether it be a meme, MS Paint, or something more intricate. We've seen some really cool things. What was it we saw yesterday? There was the
pixel art of Amaranth.
That's right. The 8-bit pixel art of Amaranth.
That was cool.
That was pretty cool. I like
like
seeing
that.
those type of things. So, anyways, that's kind of a little roundup. What was that?
This guy did not realize they were mushrooms at all. Did the mushroom guys not read as mushrooms potentially? I always thought that they looked like big mushroom guys.
They look like big mushroom, and the kind of whoop, 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 whoop noise they make in
Well,
it.
clearly that's what mushrooms would make.
They do. They sound a little whoop, 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 whoop.
Right. And also that entire zone is just covered in mushrooms.
It is.
In the art map.
It's a little bit mushroomy over there, but they are fun guys.
Yep.
Anyways, oh wow, that was so bad. Yes, Zoidberg mushrooms. Thank you.
Right.
Anyways, all right, guys. So that was our a little bit of a community roundup, really quickly here, and I'm gonna go squeeze this over here really quickly.
Already?
So, anyways, new shaper.
We got a new shaper.
This is very fun.
This
very
is always
exciting.
the best part. It
So-
feels like we were just here.
It feels
But
as
it was
though
3 weeks ago.
It was. Wow. Was it
Yeah.
3? Yeah, Reina has been in the game for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies when you're making a game, let me tell you.
It's true.
It's amazing. Last week was our 13th beta event.
Wow.
13th.
Jeez, time is just like flying by.
That is crazy. Name of the shaper. Oh my goodness.
Well, it just reminded me, like looking back at that, we should also mention that the first story of this shaper is up on the forums right now. So
That is correct.
You could read it and probably divine his name.
You probably can. In fact, I'm sure that Mr. Pluto back there will link to it in just a moment in the chat. So, let's talk a little bit about this new shaper before we do the reveal, because we have to incessantly tease and torture people.
Of course. It's the only way.
New shaper. so far, with the shapers we've introduced what?
Let's see. We started with Varian.
Varian?
And then we went to. I'm trying to remember
Petrus.
the order. Was Petrus first or was Kindra first?
It was Varian, Petrus, Kindra, and Reyna.
Reyna.
Right.
And that's it.
So we're at 16 now. So far we've introduced a new range carry, a new melee bruiser,
Yep.
a
melee mage
assassin,
and a new tank.
And then a new tank.
Right.
So this week we're going to be introducing what kind of a shaper?
Our first melee support character.
A melee support.
Yes.
So when we're talking about melee support, what does that mean to you?
So falls into the line of supports like Dibs and Zeri. They're looking to buff their allies and debuff their enemies. But melee supports are naturally more tanky. They scale magic resist where the other supports don't. They scale more armor, and they're going to have more on their kit that kind of allows them to survive in a tussle.
Okay.
Where Dibs and Zeri, right? If you catch them late game, they're going to get like instantly vaporized.
A little bit face melty.
Right.
Yeah. So we do have, and somebody's saying crying. So this is kind of a more, wait in there, beat things up type of support. Still
very, very true.
Looking, but very focused on like disruption.
That's right.
And would you say that this new shaper is a good initiator?
He's a very good initiator. Additionally, kind of like one of the questions that came early in the game was, how do Dibs and Zeri differentiate themselves from our mage characters because they can have just as much gold as one of our mage characters? So being that this guy's a melee support character, he's different from Bruisers in that he scales the kind of disruptive nature of his abilities or the support nature of his abilities. So if he were to, let's say, have a stun, he would have a duration on that stun that scales with power rather than just a flat duration on that stun that is scales with level.
Nice. So I'm excited. So what do you say? Let's show the world a render, and then we'll show some concept art of. We'll get the first look at our brand new shaper. Are we ready? Are you guys? Is your body ready? Chat. Is your body ready?
They're ready.
They're ready. Yeah. There we go. All right, here we go, folks. For the very first time ever, we introduce to you Renzo, the sculptor.
Yep.
Look at that stash.
It's his most striking feature.
It is quite striking. I mean, it is glorious. It is glorious. The waves and the curls are almost I don't know what would be like a Grecian kind of like a classical.
He is like unto a god.
He is like unto a god.
I believe it took Pat 5 weeks to just mold that mustache.
Mold the mustache, right?
Perfection.
Lovingly,
right.
with painstakingly, every strand. I'm kidding.
Every inch was incredible.
It is quite amazing. He has no chest hair. I want some more. So you will find out. LOL Tea Party actually. Renzo does glisten.
He does glisten.
Especially when he's oiled up.
That's true.
I feel kind of dirty just saying oiled up,
especially when it's out of context. But soon
you will
understand.
You will understand. And by the way, I have to say this is the first character in a MOBA that I've heard ever reference. I'm not going to tell you guys a line, but I've ever heard reference this particular body part.
Yes.
References.
Oh yes, that's very true.
Especially in this particular way.
Yes.
So yeah, he is quite the character. Let me tell you something. Renzo is quite the character. But
yes.
Before I go further into it, tell us about the inspiration for this particular character.
So it was interesting. This particular character. Do we want to move to the lesser concepts?
The concepts, absolutely.
The concepts into the reveal, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
we go.
This character actually originally started getting formed when we started doing the Zeri concept, so that was a while ago.
Okay.
Sorry, am I saying?
No, it's okay.
So that was quite a while ago. We had this idea for this group of people who were the artist nation in our world, and we started looking to not only what we wanted at the time was a young girl support, which as you know became Zeri, but we also wanted to know what these people look like just in general. This group of people who value art above all things. So we had a few concepts on what the denizens of that city would look like, and they all kind of were like these mustachioed men who had silly hats and wacky hairstyles and all these different things. And we were like, yeah, okay, we like this. We're going to put this aside, and we'll continue on with Zeri.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we wanted to put this character in this in this relationship with Zeri that you will start to see if you're reading the lore right now, that he is kind of her master, her mentor. But we wanted to, where she's a painter, we wanted to give him a very different art style. So we had decided upon sculpting.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we had to ask ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves this every time that we make a character in our world, if their normal job is sculpting or their normal job is painting, what does it mean when they become a shaper, right? If someone sculpts, clay with their hands, when they can just suddenly shape it, what does it mean? So we had a lot of like really early inspiration, and this goes back really far with me and Hunter, is just the Earthbenders from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Somebody actually brought that up just a little bit ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's super compelling, right? I think it's more compelling than any of the other bending styles. It's just like, boom, here's like giant plateau has been raised, here's like a giant shield, or they can like make anything they want, but they also do it with like a lot of pizzazz, a lot of style.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we said a sculptor who's a shaper clearly is going to be some kind of, he can just raise the earth out of the ground.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
that was where the original...
But he wouldn't just raise Earth, though. He would raise it in glorious fashion.
Well, originally it was just, let's raise Earth. There'd be walls and stuff like that. When we started to hone in on the character of this guy, we had him be very self-obsessed and kind of... he's obsessed with form. He's obsessed with the beauty of things. It's not like he would just raise a rock out of the ground, right? It would be done with deliberate and intentional style and form. And then eventually, as the character slowly became more and more self-obsessed, all of his kind of creations were tribute to the glory that is Renzo.
He's obsessed with the form of himself,
yes,
which is obviously the most glorious thing.
The most glorious thing. While he shapes his creations well, he must also shape his body.
Yes, his body,
so that we all may bask.
And somebody asked, "Can you actually touch his mustache?" No. I think he actually would get quite upset with that if you've read the fiction.
If you read the fiction.
Exactly. It is quite absurd that you would even insinuate that you could touch Renzo's mustache.
Right.
Perhaps you could grow one of yourself, one of your own. However, it would obviously never be as glorious as Renzo's mustache.
Right.
So that is one thing I noticed in the fiction. Renzo likes to speak of himself in the third person. Quite a bit.
He does.
He has the narrative happening.
Right.
It is quite impressive.
So if you take a peek at the bottom row here of characters, this is kind of like the first exploration to kind of what he was. We weren't sure, like, we knew that he was going to be beefy and he was probably going to be punchy people because he was a melee support, but we weren't sure like if he had these weapons, or not really weapons, but he has like armor that he uses to punch people, and then on the further right concepts they have spikes and they have like big rock hands and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But the base version of Renzo, where he has not been shaping anything, it started moving towards this more just giant beefy man that doesn't have anything on his hands, and we were going to sell that through effects later.
Right. I think that where we ended up with it is really just kind of the embodiment, though, of first off, he is his vitality is form, right?
Yes.
And really, like, when you look at the character and how he turned out, I think that this is really kind of the perfect translation of that. It's like, when you hear his VO, which you will hear his VO, we're going to load up the game in just a little bit, actually. Mm-hmm. It is unbelievable.
It's super well done.
It is very well done.
Like, I think that Chris's writing is really fantastic across all our VO, but Renzo is just like a golden star amongst them all. Like, he's extremely delightful. All his things are just extremely well written.
Mm-hmm. So, could you tell me what's the dealio with this mustache?
The top right mustache. I think that the original concepts of these guys from way back in the day when we were doing Zeri all had this like unbelievably ridiculous mustache. Some would like completely like hang down to their chests, but we decided to kind of scale it back and give him that close crop look on his face.
It is still quite epic, though. I mean, when you combine it with the Chester A. Arthur chops, I mean, it rolls right there. I mean, like, the first thing when I first saw this, like, his get up was like, I'm like, oh, we should totally do like a Teddy Roosevelt skin for him, and just have him with the big smile and be like, bully. In fact, that should be one of his lines, bully. Anyways,
that was good.
All right. It's Udir in the future.
Future Udir.
Not even close, but thank you, that guy. All right, so hey, Mr. Brad, do you mind firing the game up real quick? And while we are waiting for that one to kick off, let me move this over here really fast.
Okay.
I'll go ahead. I'm going to scooch over here. And then make sure you don't hit like
Yeah.
buttons or anything, as usual.
But his only masterpiece is his.
And folks can hear his VO. That's right.
Good. So I'm gonna go ahead and select all the things. We got to do this in private because we're playing on our debug build.
That is true.
So you guys would be able to see all our delights.
That's right. We can't show you some of the stuff yet.
Right.
Looks like Zeus. From Dota 2.
Yeah.
I could see that.
A little bit, but not quite as. But Zeus is not nearly as glorious.
No, he's nowhere near as glorious. Nowhere near as glorious. So, all right, there we go. Now you can just hit game cam.
Already.
Unless you have anything else you need to do.
I don't think so. I need to get.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Let me. I need to add that in there. Sorry.
Okay.
Looks like it's not.
At least we didn't crash.
No, at least we didn't crash. That's true. Add game. That's right. I forgot the debug mode is different. And
Renzo.
move that down to there. Actually, I need to move it down further. Actually, sorry guys. A little bit of a. All right, I think we're good. Okay.
All right, cool.
And then let me go ahead and I'll get that down there.
All right, cool. Here we go. So let me get out here. Give you guys a good first look at Renzo in game. Look at that walk. Look at that swag.
He does have quite a bit of swag.
So I'll let you guys just bask in this for a
30 seconds
second.
until minions
See if
spawn.
we can get an idol of him touching his mustache.
Oh boy.
While I level up these things. See, okay, they noticed, they could tell the swag walk that he's got it. Okay, no idol now. We'll go later. So I'll give you guys a run through of his abilities and meet Mr. Pluto at the parasite. So Renzo has a resource. If you guys notice, they're a little dark, but
Minions
he
have
has a
spawned.
5-tick resource called Inspiration. Inspiration is built by his melee attacks and also by his Q ability. So I'll go up and punch Pluto once in the face,
Melee!
and I'll gain 1 stack of Inspiration. Additionally, you'll notice that when I attacked him, I got these gigantic rock hands. That is Renzo's passive, which is called Fists of Inspiration. When Renzo basic attacks anyone, he gains a large bonus to his armor for a short period. You'll notice that, or when those giant hands fall off, he loses his armor. So you see that it lasts. But if he can stay in, melee combat, he can keep those stacks up, or he can keep that armor up. Renzo's Q is Inspiring Strike. Go up to Pluto and hit him in the face with that giant hammer. That deals physical damage and generates inspiration depending on who Renzo hits. So if he hits a minion or a creature or anyone that's not a shaper, he'll gain 1 point of inspiration, but if he hits a shaper, he'll gain 2 points of inspiration. The way that inspiration works is that when Renzo has all 5 points of inspiration, his next W or E ability is empowered and gains enhanced effects. So I'll go through those abilities first, and then I'll let you see what the enhanced effects are. So Renzo's W is called Renzo's Embrace. It will shield target ally shaper or himself, and also increase their armor for a short period. So pretty simple shield ability, very effective, especially against physical damage characters. So if I can get Pluto to go ahead and shoot me when my shield is down, see if he's listening. So it's taking 60 damage from his basic attack, and my shield is up, taking only 51.
And what does the shield scale off of?
So the shield scales off of power, and then the armor bonus scales off of the rank of the ability. So it gains at rank 5 currently gains 30 armor, which is pretty significant. Renzo's E ability is called Kinetic Sculpture. It is a ranged targeted stun. So Renzo kicks up a rock, punches it towards his enemy, and then stuns them for 1 second. This also scales, the duration of this scales with power. So as I get more power, the longer this stun will last. It also deals physical damage on impact.
So for kind of a tanky melee then, it seems like, and I don't know if we have the recommended items in this build yet or not.
We do.
But it does seem like something like a Rampancy would be a really good pickup for him.
Absolutely. I consider Rampancy a core item. His focus on being armor, and we'll explain Juggernaut in a second, always makes me want to get a lot of armor items, so protection or stamina where appropriate, and then also glory and rampancy as my main items, which you'll kind of see on like tanks and bruisers, versus like the dibs who would probably get like a control or inevitability and his protection early, anything that would be a little bit more supporty and a little less survivable.
Okay.
So Like I said, when
Quite.
Renzo 5 stacks of
Oil
inspiration,
Renzo is
he
inspired.
becomes inspired, and his next W or E will have additional effects. So if I take some damage here and use my W,
Guard!
there's also a heal. I got healed for 219 there with no additional power.
Very nice.
Extremely significant heal. So I've talked about heals in the past before in the Dawn Gate, and there's kind of this issue where because we removed mana, it becomes more difficult for us to have a character with sustained healing or consistent healing. And the way that we basically we've been going about solving that is having the heals be considered a combat heal. So the character, without engaging in combat for a sustained period or hitting an enemy with their abilities, they cannot heal. So the same thing applies for Renzo. He must build inspiration by attacking shapers or using his Q on minions, and he can only heal when he has 5 inspiration. So let me build a little bit more inspiration by beating up on Pluto.
Ready for greatness.
So with Renzo's E, his next
Yes.
kinetic sculpture will additionally shred the target's armor significantly. Now that I've hit Pluto and stunned him, he's also got this
Pugilism.
generous armor debuff. Anyone that's in my lane who's dealing physical damage is going to be dealing a lot
Is
more physical
inspired.
damage. So you can see, let's use a Q on him, dealt 165 damage there. Use an E and do it, and it turns into 209. So super, super good. If I had a Varian, Michaela, Nissa in my lane, or even a Bruiser nearby, it would be doing... That could very, very much spell his death.
Right.
So now on to Renzo's ultimate. I'm trying to think about how I want to set this up. If I should just use it. Just use his ultimate.
I think just let them bask in the glory of it.
Right. Renzo's ultimate is called Masterpiece.
Thank you. Breathtaking. So,
Oh, I love that. I'm sorry. It does all the different poses too. Oh, I didn't even realize that.
masterpiece.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
So, Renzo creates an area of mud on the ground that slows enemies for a few seconds, and then, or for a brief delay, and then a gigantic statue of Renzo bursts from the ground, knocking up all enemies in the area.
How are we anticipating that this ult is going to impact players playing? Because people are going to see it and they're just going to stop. Sorry. They're just going to stop and they're going to bust out laughing. I don't know how they're going to keep playing.
The entire first day that we had these effects in, like, people didn't even know they were coming in. I was just kind of like, effects turned on, right? You know, like, and then this came in and it was like you could just hear people laughing across the entire playtest. It was quite incredible. As you can tell, we have many different statues. I've got God mode on, so I'm using it, so I'm talking about no CD.
Right.
We have many different statues, all with delightful poses that Renzo mimics in his own animations as well when they come out. This was like super labor of love between our animator and our effects artist on this character. They just like were kind of like, well, we have 3. Well, what if we had 4? Okay. What if we had 6? Okay. How about 8? So currently we have 8 different statues Renzo will play.
Yeah, somebody made the suggestion. Make sure the skins will change these statues.
Of course. We
yeah.
gotta have delightful skin changes.
That is quite the epic. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Right.
So you mentioned earlier that he's a really good lane complement to
Quite.
something like, say, a Varian, a Michaela, or a anything that's like a really good physical damage. Like,
Right.
what do you see his role being, kind of like in the different stages of the game?
So yeah, so to that point, I actually really like him with a lot of different characters, and the thing that I like about Renzo in particular is that it makes me think about how I level up my abilities differently in the lane phase. So if we're talking about early game, so like I said, it's 3 different abilities. He's got a single target nuke on his Q, the shield on his W, and then the stun on his E, to put them simply. If I'm with a caster character, I will rank my E first because it decreases the cooldown of the ability, allowing them to hit their combos more often. So like, let's say I have an Amrith in my lane. The armor shred's not going to do her much good, but the stun will, right? If she can land her EQ combo as often as I stun, we're going to absolutely dominate that lane. If I am instead running a lane with a character like Pluto's playing as a range carry, I will level up my Q first. And I do that because generally a range carry is playing Gladiator, and I don't want to disrupt them too often to get and have them potentially lose their stacks. So I would focus on leveling up my Q first, so that I could just go in, get this damage, put my shield on, back away to not get retaliated on, and just trade really well. Particularly, I want to be focusing a gladiator if they have one, so I can disrupt his his gladiator stacks.
Right.
And then the third case is that I'm playing with someone who is not good at the video game. If you can tell, oh god, this guy's going to need help, then max your W first. You can heal them, you can shield them, you can prevent them from getting killed, and then once you get out of lane phase, you can max your other abilities. So in the lane phase, he's big time bully. You want to stun as often as you think that you can, and that your lane partner can follow up on, or that you can follow up on with a Q and a W shield out. And then as the game kind of progresses into mid and late, you're going to want to be focusing on catching characters out with your E and initiating fights with your R. So if you can see that there's 3 enemies grouped up with your R, you can use that ability to disrupt that team fight, knock people into your team, and then get them completely obliterated once they get there.
Somebody mentioned, how is he different from, because he's a tanky support,
Right.
but how is he different from like a pure tank in that sense?
So he does not have the ability to counter-engage well or consistently. So if he has the ability to peel, which is similar to a bruiser, but like let's say that their Volek has gotten onto my my support in the back, or sorry, my carry in the back. I can stun that guy, and then that is it.
Right.
It is over. Unlike if I were, say, Kel or Desecrator, I could slow, knock them up consistently over and over and over, peel them off my team as a counter engage. So he's got that kind of one-shot engage per a fight, depending on how long the fight lasts, and then it's done after that.
Okay. So you were talking about early game harassing. What is what's his capability to kind of zone people out in that early game phase?
So he's very good zoner. So if he can get the advantage, so he has to use your E to stun those guys, get damage on them early, and push them into the back lines, into the back of their past their enemy lines. But that being said, the kind of curse of the melee support is if you yourself fall behind, it is much harder to be effective in the lane. So if you have a Dibs or a Zeri, for example, Dibs falls behind in the lane and he's getting beat up. He can still stay at like 1,000 range that his Q is at and be queuing and be very effective. But if Renzo can't go in and trade with his Q and then shield up with his W and get out, he's not going to be super effective other than the stun and the ult for the engage.
Okay.
Right.
So let's talk about roles.
Right.
What kind of roles do you envision would Renzo be effective at?
So because Renzo's support, I almost exclusively play him as tactician. I think that we've seen a jungle Renzo, but you need to get pretty significant help from your team because he doesn't have a lot of AoE clear. So in general, I would play him. I think Predator would be a really good choice if you are confident in your lane strategy. So if you're like going and duo queuing with someone and you've got an Amaranth on your team and you're like, yeah, we're going to do this, then Predator's probably a really, really good choice too. But generally, I play him as tactician.
Right. That's what I've actually played him as during the tests, and yeah, he is. I did try him actually as a nice. I did actually try him as a jungler once. And very good point. Like he is not a very fast clear, so
right.
When you're going up against a jungler with a much faster clear, somebody like a Volek or a Moya, you're gonna have a rough time of it.
Right. He's got a lot of armor naturally because of his passive and his W. So he can do it, but it would be slower.
It would be slower for sure.
Additionally, we could talk about perk. So perk, we have new perks coming into the video game. And I'm going to talk about one of them because I take it on Renzo.
Absolutely.
So I take the perk which is Juggernaut. Juggernaut is a flat armor bonus to myself, which is the stats on the perk, and then additionally converts armor into power at a 12%. 12% ratio. So the more armor that I have, the more power that I'm getting. Currently, I don't have very much armor. I just have my base. I'm gaining 10. This is my base armor at level 20. If I just hit my my armor bonus on my passive, that bonus goes up to 16. If I had any items whatsoever, let's say like a stamina or a glory, I'd have an even better armor to power passive. So I find this very effective on Renzo because he's got all his natural armor in his kit.
Okay.
And I like to build him really tanky. So he ends up just having a good amount of power from it.
So you mentioned earlier that rampancy is kind of one of those core items. Let's kind of walk through, let's say, in this case, a tactician build. What would you build first and items you would prioritize?
So I like to start with life. Personally, because I like playing support, it's very supporty, I always like to build straight into my fortitude and my protection and my stamina. This is going to give my lane partner whatever they need for the lane. If I can tell already that they have a very physical heavy team, right? They're running a Moya in the jungle, they have 2 range carries. They only have 1 mage, or maybe only 1 magic damage to support a Desecrator. I will always build stamina, which will give a percentage bonus increase to armor on myself and all my allies. So obviously very effective with Renzo's passive, very effective with his W, and if I build any more armor, it'll be very effective as well. Almost immediately afterwards, I'll build into my Pride and Glory. That means that when if I can get this during the lane phase, I can still use my EQ combo, go in, be punching people in the face, and be dealing even more additional damage. So additionally, the armor helps with Juggernaut, helps with stamina. Very good, very effective. And then I build Rampancy. Rampancy is almost like it's got a glorious partnership with Glory, right? It's glorious. I did it. Tons of health, which helps the bonus on Glory, and additionally, all the extra power that you get from it is good as well. And then after that, you've got a couple different options that we put up here. Conquest is good because of the frequency that you'll get a Q cast off immediately followed by a basic attack. It actually deals pretty significant damage. And Adamance is good as well if you want a little bit extra power, a little bit extra armor, and then if you're going up against a very physical heavy attack speed team, so if they have a Moya or a Freya, or they just have a lot of range carries. And then on defensive items, we have Hope. Hope is pretty good because Renzo has low cooldowns most of his abilities, especially his Q. He can keep Hope up pretty much 100% of the time if he's in combat. And then Rebirth, because Rebirth is a great item. Haste is really good on supports. Health is really good, and giving him that ability to regen in combat is really effective. Let's see.
So, like, if you had to, and we're going to take some questions after this, guys.
We got to play a little bit of Renzo VO as well.
We do need to play some Renzo VO. So, before we take questions, we will play Renzo VO. But really quickly, so if you had to say what is, one thing that is, Renzo's greatest strength for somebody who wants to play him, why you would play Renzo, and then conversely, what do you want to exploit if you're playing against him?
The power of a single target stun is like incredible. Like it is, you cannot weigh it against almost anything else. It secures kills extremely frequently. So if you're running a kill lane, I mean Renzo is almost completely unparalleled at the moment as far as supports are concerned. He trades a little bit of flexibility and flexibility and damage for that, but extremely effective. Single target stun is just great. Playing against Renzo, like I said, melee character, do not let him get in and trade with you without trading back. Like he'll have that shield, but burn through it, deal damage to him, and then he cannot do it over and over and over. You want to push him out, you want to get him in the back line and afraid to engage on you. So as soon as you see him coming, if you're an Amaranth, right, immediately bubble him, immediately queue him so that he can't trade for free.
Okay, awesome. So let's do a little bit of that. Let's do a little bit of that VO.
Yes.
Dave wants to hear the flirt.
All right. So they can hear this pretty well, right?
Yeah, I should be able to.
All right.
Renzo can't accept your love. His heart belongs to Renzo. Renzo knew a man who referred to himself in the third person.
Some Renzo taunts.
Renzo's nipples can cut glass. Beware, Renzo's chest comes for you.
Let's get that one more time.
Renzo gives you a free hit. No, 3 hits. Renzo must be fair. Renzo gives you a free hit. No, 3 hits. Renzo must be fair.
Let's see what lines are feeling the compliment.
Rather good.
I also like there's one in here.
Careful.
Oh shit, what is it?
Reversal. Advance to the rear. Observe. Renzo makes his pectorals dance. Don't cry. You'll get over Renzo in time.
So Renzo is incredible, and he has incredible VO.
Let's do that. Nonsense. Magnificent. Follow Renzo.
Alrighty.
So there we go, folks. So yes, yeah, this Shaper's a little bit of a troll, folks, but he is a lot of fun, man. Let's take some questions, everybody. So if you have, and yes, by the way, Renzo is playable in our next patch. So we will confirm, of course, usually like we do, usually the night. What happened there?
Pluto decided to kill me with
Renzo
cheats.
down, he becomes more beautiful.
Nice. So anyways, if you have questions, go ahead and ask away. Again, as usual, though, we will
So?
announce when he's available. Usually we post the patch notes the night before. God, that old.
An invigorating done.
This is Q AoE.
Celebration.
His Q is not AoE, it is a single target ability.
Bam! Bam! Okay. The Blue Muzzy wants to know, did you decide to stay away from encasing his entire body in rock for his ult to make him a juggernaut?
That would not fit the support role super well. So if he was a bruiser and he had like an avatar state that was like incredible defenses, then that would be something that we'd probably go with.
Right, okay. Don't nerf Reyna. We already did last patch, right?
Yeah, and also
she's been a little strong, so you know.
she is a little strong for sure.
Yes. How old is Renzo?
How old is Renzo?
He's timeless.
We have.
Don't go to the Shaper Gallery.
I can't go to the Shaper Gallery. You guys would see things you don't want to see.
Exactly.
I think he's like 43. Is Dandelion in the chat? Maybe he's at home. I don't know.
He might be. I'm not sure. Can I use this footage for the Dawn Source podcast?
Of course you can.
Of course you can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you think about making his ult a Pillar Filth style ability? Yes, I absolutely did. So there was a point in time where Renzo could create 3 statues of himself, which of course sounds better. And each statue would cut a hole in the ground nav mesh so that characters couldn't move around it. But actually, I found it kind of frustrating. We thought about it in a few different ways, but we decided to go with kind of the more impactful single target knock-up, and then the statue just disintegrates and doesn't cut a hole.
Consideration.
Okay. 45-year-olds have pure white hair. Proof. Just gonna point out.
Maybe 68. I don't know.
No. He is according to Dandelion. He is 45 years old. But Patrick Stewart. Just saying, your theory is disproved. Let's see here. Is Renzo gay? I think Renzo is only in love with one individual.
In love with Renzo.
He's in love with Renzo. So, and you cast her R again and again and again.
I'll give you another one. There's something I forgot to explain about the R, a little nuance, which is characters in the center of the R are knocked straight off. While characters at the edge of the R are actually knocked away from the center.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Right, and it's nice because when you use your E in conjunction with your R, you can guarantee at least one target gets hit. So if you're looking to knock someone into your team or away from the team because you don't want to mess with them right now, you can kind of guarantee who it is by stunning them first and then setting up your ult perfectly.
So I'm actually curious. Hey, Pluto, can you go stand next to the very edge of the wall there?
Oh yeah.
Pluto. There we go. Okay. So.
No.
Oh no, it won't do it. Okay. I wondered, can it knock him back over the wall, because that would be kind of amazing, actually.
I think that the knockback's just a little too short.
A little too short.
Your binding has been destroyed.
Just a little too short. That's unfortunate. Let's see here. Is Renzo male or female? He is a male. He's a man, baby.
100% male.
He is 100% man. All man, Renzo. That Renzo. We've been giving out beta keys in the chat, guys. We give them out silently in the chat on Wednesdays. Please make Renzo flirt with himself when he goes into a mirror match. Did we have Renzo to Renzo interaction?
I think that would break our world in half.
It might.
Our world fiction would disintegrate.
Can testers stream Dawngate? Absolutely. Absolutely. So somebody asked earlier, I can't remember their name, what would you take first, how would you level up his abilities? Oh, that does work right there. Nice.
That's pretty good.
No problem. That's
Renzo
amazing.
is as clever
How
as
would you
he
level
is
up his abilities if you were jungling him?
Oh, so if I was jungling him, I would want to max
An
my
enemy
Q
binding
first with
has
my
been
W
destroyed.
second, but a rank of E at level 3 for ganking.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially you'd want to keep your inspiration coming as quickly as you could for additional heals during the jungle phase. And his Q gets to really low cooldown. I've got no haste right now, and it's a 4-second cooldown, so it scales pretty aggressively as far as cooldown is concerned.
Okay.
So max Q, second W, and E at 3.
Okay. Does his E go through walls?
Absolutely. Let's get where's Pluto? Oops, you're over here.
Nothing escapes
Pluto,
the
come to the edge of this
eye
wall.
of Renzo.
Come over to this wall. Oop, yeah.
That'll work. No, other side. Other side of the wall. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Yes, every puzzle.
Go back on the other side. There we go.
Bam.
It is targeted, so as long as you have basically sight vision on them, right?
Yep.
You can hit them when you're in range.
And within range, yeah.
So could you show the range reticle really quickly again there?
Sure.
So,
So this is the range of his E, this is the range of his Q, the range of his W, and the range and AoE radius of his R.
okay.
Right.
Why does he have the top half of his robe off? So you can.
Well, isn't it obvious?
I mean,
I'm confused.
so you can appreciate.
Prepare for genius.
So inspired. Let's see here. So somebody wants to see all of his abilities again. We can show them, guys. We'll show them as we go through the stream, but we can't go through the explanation again. There's always the VOD of the stream, guys. So be sure to check that out later on. That ult, man, I love that ult.
It's super good.
Rodrigo Delmonico, yes. Can Renzo use the shield on other shapers?
Yes,
he can.
Oh,
I can't. I don't have anyone else around, but I could.
Can his E be blocked?
His E cannot be blocked. If someone was in between, it'll go straight through. It's a targeted projectile.
Targeted projectile. Okay. Can you use the ult to knock him towards you after you stun him over a wall? Depends on the wall, probably.
Sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
Can you use the? Hold on, where'd it go? Can you use the ult to knock him towards you after you stun him over a wall? So yeah, I mean, if you can stun him over a wall, you can then knock him back over again.
Right. They would have to be right up against that wall. As you could see, it had to be the smallest wall to get over.
Right. Let's see here.
quite.
Does he gain inspiration from auto attacks on lane creeps, jungle mobs, or parasites?
He does not. So the inspiration that he gains off his base attack is
Oil me
literally
up.
only against shapers. Let's see if I got mode on. So there we go. Got it. Use it, and then go over here. I will gain none. But if I use my Q, I'll gain 1.
That's right. And why did we make that distinction then?
Essentially, I want to incentivize him to get into fights with shapers, but additionally, I was looking for a way to gate that heal in particular. Like I don't want him to be able to generate that heal all the time, so we made it so that he had to fight shapers. In the lane phase, he can use his heal or use inspiration about maybe once every 20 seconds or less if you're being good with your Q and your E.
Okay.
But in a team fight, he gets it all the time, right? If I'm in a team fight and I can just get up,
Pugilism.
attack Pluto, Q, and basically attack him, I'm all set. I can instantly consume that and start the building over again. So in a team fight, he gets to really quickly decide whether he wants to use his E or his W all the time.
Okay.
Which is what makes it pretty fun.
Will Dungate get a PBE? PBE? Yeah, eventually, guys. We're in closed beta right now, so our server is the PBE at the moment. But once we get live in like 24/7 out of beta, then yeah, we'll probably have a PBE. We need somewhere to test changes, right? Will you guys ever change how the jungle monsters look? As far as I know, there's no plans to change them currently.
True facts.
Does Renzo's ult work on jungle creeps?
It sure does.
Boom!
Quite.
So that's actually fairly decent damage too.
It does good damage. I mean, it's ultimate level damage. It's physical, which is actually another distinction I should have mentioned. For all of Renzo's abilities are physical versus magical.
Okay.
But it does pretty good damage. 410 base. That's pretty significant.
When will you guys be able to have servers open 24/7? When we're ready to, guys. No ETA on it at the moment. No ETA at the moment.
How well do his skills cooldown scale with haste? Very well. So all our supports scale 0.6 haste ratios, which are extremely good. Our tanks used to scale the same way, but we decided it was too OP, and we brought them down to 0.5. So getting one core haste item on him is very, very, very effective.
Okay. Somebody mentioned the fact that the perk Juggernaut is the same name as the passive for the Rampancy.
Oh yeah, that's true. Is that true? Oh, it's got down.
Looks like we may need to...
We may need to juggle those around.
Yep.
That's true.
Okay.
Good eye.
Good catch on that. I can't remember who it was who said that, but good catch on that. Somebody who bringing that up. Sauce D is asking, what spells do you recommend on Renzo?
So it depends on whether I'm playing... There it is, our secret spell content.
I know, right?
You get to see all those placeholder icons. So I would take... it depends on whether I'm being aggressive or defensive in lane.
Look at the, like that's a lot of new guys. That's just what we're working on actively in game right now. There's tons of things in the works. Don't that's not a big deal. And
It's true.
you saw icons. You saw placeholder icons.
Placeholder icons.
At that, yeah.
So if I was being very aggressive in lane, I would probably take Stagger. Generally, I like to start with Deflect on all support characters, so I would take Deflect. Second, I would probably build Tailwind again for kind of like team engage. Renzo's really good at, if I cast my R and I need my friends to immediately be able to engage, I'll hit my Tailwind as soon as I get out, and we'll move in together and beat up the enemies. The last one is kind of up to you, so it kind of depends on what you need in the time. You could get a Blitz and be more effective at hitting people. You could get a Blink if you need to Blink engage on someone, or Stasis if you were getting completely beat up. I think it all depends on what the situation calls for.
Okay. Can you kill these jungle? I want to see how they move in death. Okay. Let's see here. Can you make 9 statues for his ult, the 9th one being his mustache on a pillar?
So we actually have eight statues for his entire ult, and one of them is super rare. So you guys will need to play Renzo quite a bit and see the rare statue.
Ooh. Now I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to, after we turn the stream off, I'm going to have to figure that out. All right. Fable Media, you mentioned some changes to the map. Is that still a thing? I don't think that's something we're ready to discuss yet.
All we said is, yep, we're looking into it.
We're looking into map balance, and that's something that's going to constantly be happening, guys. So,
very true.
But trust me, we will roll out and show you guys and tell you guys about any changes we make before they actually go into game. It's how we roll. Can you give him a Romeo quote on him when he dies? What is his?
Quite.
Let's see.
You have slain an enemy.
Dramatic turnabout. Renzo returns.
You have slain an enemy.
Time for death.
It's got no time for death.
Nice.
A brief tussle.
All right.
All right. Is his rare statue Pluto twerking? Wow. Do you have plans to make a /ignore command anytime soon? We actually have it in the game already. MMO Stars. It's /B, /B, and then the person's name.
/B for block.
That's right. Could you go more in depth on how Renzo's jungling phase would be like in a regular match?
Sure. So I would generally, if I was starting jungle Renzo, I would take Juggernaut again. Same thing. I would also start with resilience rather than life, like I would in the lane. I would get a lot of help. Renzo is not have any AoE clear, so he is better suited to start in the camps with less creatures, so the Ugger camps or the fish camps on the bottom, if I'm on mortal side.
Right.
But really, I'm going to need support for my lane. It's absolutely required. But after taking my orange, I would probably head to my blue and then eventually down to my green. Looking for ganks in between. Once I'm level 3, like I said, I would start my stun. Another thing about that, and that truly makes Renzo difficult, is that I almost always want to start, makes Renzo jungling difficult, is I almost always want to start the game with my E leveled up. If we can get a catch early in the jungle, or if they're invading, doing something silly, it often could mean a kill. So if I was doing a Renzo jungle, I would hold on to those abilities. It could be worth it to rank up my E, but I'd want to have my Q if I was jungling.
Let's see here. Mars Coderex asks, why is his Q targeted instead of on, rather than being on next hit?
We wanted instead of on next hit. I see. Generally, I feel like targeted abilities feel more punchy because we can have this huge wind-up animation. But additionally, it means that you cannot lose that ability, right? If it is on next hit and then they see this, Renzo's going to try to do his full combo, it telegraphs that, and then they could just push you out of lane. They could wave right away if they were someone like Amaranth, and then completely screw up your combo. You'd have to just hold it till that last second.
Okay. There was a question about, does Renzo have interactions or banter between other shapers?
He sure does. So he has interaction with Zeri at the moment. Obviously. So he has, if you're reading the story, you know that he's got a relationship with Zeri. He has banter with another character who has not been released yet.
Aha!
Yes.
You'll see that eventually.
Will respawn soon.
Okay, we're going to do a couple more questions, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and call it a stream. Somebody asked about the E being interceptable. No, we did make that make that distinction earlier. It is targeted, and we'll just kind of go through people who try to block it. There was another question, actually, I wanted to ask here. That was about him.
Was Fullmetal Alchemist used in the creation of the Shaper? It may have been an inspiration.
Your binding has respawned.
So if his attack scales off of his armor, could he also be an assassin since he has all of that crowd control?
Say that again. If his attacks scale off his armor, he gains some. His attack scale off his power. It does not scale off his armor.
Right.
He does not have generous damage ratios because his abilities scale differently. So no, he would not be a very good assassin. Additionally, physical assassins normally need something very specific to make them physical assassins. We don't have any in our game, but if you're going to use a game like League, for example, they generally have a % bonus to their damage, like you see on like the ZW passive or on Talon's passive, that allows them to be physical damage assassins.
Right on, right on. And I think what you're talking about, the power scaling off of armor, is actually the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut perk. So.
Juggernaut is it's nice, but it's not that nice. It's maybe like 25 power at the end game.
That's right. Do you help fan communities, Donkey? Absolutely.
An enemy binding has been destroyed.
Let's see here.
An enemy binding has
How many
respawned.
junglers are in the game right now? Well, I mean, with the role system, 16. Well, soon to be 17, right? Some people are more adept at it than others. Some shapers, I should say, are more adept at it than others. Does inspiration decay?
It does not. So once you have inspiration, you will have it forever. You can just hold on to it.
Okay.
Generally, you don't want to, but
There's some people are getting pretty granular with the questions right now. Can his ult interrupt Cerulean's ult?
no, it cannot. So Cerulean, Kel, and Moya have a modifier that's put on them when they, a buff put on them when they are ulting, which is called, internally we call it immovable. It means that character cannot be
An enemy binding has
stunned,
been
rooted,
destroyed.
silenced, or slowed during that thing, during those abilities. So no.
Okay, awesome.
Or knocked down.
Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what. Dog Exodus, there are 3 jungle buffs on each side. There's lots of camps. I don't know the exact number really quickly, but just for future reference, typing in all caps, I want an answer, is not usually the best way to ingratiate yourself to the stream.
Oh.
Anyways, all right, folks. So thank you very much, Dibs. And if I can scoot you over real quick here.
Oh, okay.
Renzo's nipples can
An
cut
enemy
glass.
binding
There we
has
go.
been
Renzo's
destroyed.
chest comes for you.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. Congratulations to those of you who won a beta code today. If you didn't win one, be sure to tune in tomorrow for our developer playtest, where this guy right here will be playing Renzo live on the stream, so you'll be able to see first-time gameplay, actual gameplay of Renzo during the developer playtest. So tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. PDT. That's 10:30 or something, or I don't know, 9:30, something late CEST. I'm still, I don't know, my brain's still partly on German time, I think, actually. So, anyways, Rensgate. So yes, we'll be tomorrow, and then we'll be giving out beta keys tomorrow. And hey, you know, if we get over 600 viewers, we'll do a 200 juice beta key. So, good times.
Your team is victorious.
Great timing. There, that was
Did any doubt our
awesome.
ultimate victory?
You get
We
a
had
little sneak
Renzo.
peek.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was not intentional there. So yes, but anyways, so we will have the playtest, the developer playtest, guys. Servers are not up tomorrow. Oh well, no, servers are up tomorrow.
Oh wow, yeah, it's true. Thursday.
That's right. Jeez, I'm not used to saying that. So we'll have the developer playtest at some point tomorrow, though, and this guy will play. We'll cut away from the main beta. We'll have this guy playing Renzo during the developer playtest because we still have that going on no matter what. Yeah, and then the next patch you should be able to play Renzo. We just can't say when that next patch will be. It will not be tomorrow, though, guys. Just to let you know, you will be playing tomorrow on the same build as last week. So, anyways. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody out there.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. I can click things around. There we go.